Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm at a little disadvantage. I probably know less about our guest speaker today than most of you do, but I've caught up a little bit, and I'm going to read from the cover of the book. Our guest is Bruce Warshauer, a lawyer, publisher, author, rabbi, and many other things, has obviously worn multiple hats in his life. Under the millinery is a head filled with bold and creative ideas on some of the most searing questions that confront Jews and humankind. But he warned, evasion has never been a vocation that Rabbi Warshauer has found worthy. He is an incurable provocateur, as insightful as many will find his words. Others will experience them as an incitement. If only others had the gift and courage to write with clarity and passion. Bruce Warshauer received his law degree and master's in economics from Yale University. He was ordained as a Reform rabbi from Hebrew Union College. He has practiced law and has been the spiritual head of congregations in Ann Arbor, Michigan, New Orleans, Louisiana, and Coconut Creek, Florida. Rabbi Warshauer has taught economics at Winnipeg University, Miami University of Ohio, and in ancient Jewish history at Florida Atlantic University. Rabbi Warshauer was the founding executive director of the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach County, Florida, and was the publisher of the Jewish Journal. He is currently publisher emeritus and a columnist for that paper. I give you Bruce Warshauer.
Okay.
Back, until we get it back.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. They gave me a mic.
Shut that mic off, though.
Okay. By the way, that joke from Jay reminds me of the lens grinder who fell into his machine and made a spectacle of himself. But, what can I tell you?
Did you get
Hey,
that
listen,
one?
it's not easy following Dolph Shaves. I heard he was here last week. You had to book me this week. I'm here, and I'm going to give a brief review of my book. It's called Provocative Columns. For the last 6 years, I've been writing a weekly column in the Jewish Journal, as you know. These days, I'm getting a little older. I now only write every other week. But the other weeks that I'm not in, Zell Lurie is in. And when I grow up, I want to be Zell Lurie, okay? He is the premier Jewish writer in the United States. So the book, what I did recently, I wrote over, in the last 6 years, I've written over 300 columns. And I took what I consider to be the best 119 of them. By the way, that review of the book, I didn't write that about myself. That was a review by Mark Rosenblum, who's professor of Judaica at Queens College. That was a blurb on the back of the book. And in fact, Fred Greenspan, who's the head of the Judaica department at FAU, was kind enough also to review the book, and he has a blurb on the back as well. Which is the nice thing about people who give you blurbs is they're always you don't print them unless they're affirmative. So that's a very nice blurb in the thing. Now the book is broken up into 3 parts. By the way, this is crass commercialism. At the very end, I'll sell you the book for $20 if you want to buy it. It's broken up into 3 parts, and the reason it's broken up into 3 parts is because Jews basically have 3 interests, if you think about it. One is Jewish belief systems. What makes me a Jew? Or what kind of a Jew can I be? The second is Israel, which is, by the way, the most provocative. When I really, I don't want to use a non-rabbinical phrase, but when I really piss people off, it's when I write about Israel, okay? These are called provocative columns. They're meant to be provocative. And then the third part of the book is how we Jews relate to what happens in the United States, to church-state issues, to civil rights issues, and so on. Because not only are we Jews, we're Americans as well. So it's 3 parts of the book. I'm going to talk this morning for 45 minutes, about 15 minutes on each part of the book, and then there'll be a Q&A for 15 minutes, and I promise that I will stop exactly at 10 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock now, a little after 9. Let's start with the first part of the book, Jewish thought systems. I grew up in a small coal town between Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, Pennsylvania, called Pittston, Pennsylvania. There were 60 Jewish families there. We were conservative towards Orthodox. And I was always taught, and there were no Reform Jews there, I was always taught there are three kinds of Judaism. There's Orthodox, there's Conservative, and there's the Goyim. Okay? I mean, that's what I believe. I never met a Reform Jew until I was an adult, and I'm now a Reform rabbi. But they lied to me. There aren't three. First of all, there are many other kinds of Jews. There are Hasidim, there are Ashkenazim, there are Sephardim, there are the humanistic Jews, there are the spiritualistic Jews, etc., gastronomic Jews, etc. But really, there's only two kinds of Jews. Not three, not five, two kinds. There's either revelationary Jews or non-revelationary Jews. Let me explain. There are either Jews who believe that God took his time out at Mount Sinai and said, Moshe, take a ballpoint, write this down. That God revealed his laws to us. That's believing in revelation. That means that God can break into the natural order. And then there's Jews who don't believe in revelation. I happen to be a Jew who does not believe in revelation. Now that doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. I just don't believe that God breaks into the natural order. So now you ask me, and it's a good question, why don't I believe in revelation? Probably for three reasons. One, if the Torah is God-given, and it's a law book, everybody knows it's a law book, the Ten Commandments and all the other laws in the Torah as well, not just the Big Ten. If it's a law book, and if it's from God, it's got to be a really first-rate book. Because God will not be a second-rate lawyer. We know that God, being God, has to be the best of everything. God is not going to... If God's a lawyer, he's a graduate of Yale Law School, not Podunk, right? Or, no matter what school he goes to, he's the first in his class. He's not a C- student. So let's look at the product and see if this Torah that we call Revelation is worthy of God. There's all kinds of problems in the Torah. Just all kinds of problems. For instance, it says in Deuteronomy that if you marry a woman and then find that she's not a virgin, you're allowed to stone her to death. Now, if that were to apply today, we wouldn't have any future generations. We'd be out of business, okay? We have some things in the Torah which are very, very difficult to deal with. God said, we all love Pesach. I love Pesach. It's my favorite holiday. And if you think about it, it says that every time that the Pharaoh said, you can let my people, I'll let you go, he changes his mind, right? And then they lead up to the 10 plagues, and then finally, God kills all the firstborn males of Egypt as punishment. Now, let's stop and think. If you read the Torah text, it says clearly, why did Pharaoh change his mind? It says, God hardened his heart. Well, if God hardens Pharaoh's heart, then it wasn't Pharaoh who made the decision. It was God who made the decision. And if God made that decision, why should he punish and kill all those firstborn of Egypt? That's an obscenity. A total obscenity. There are so many problems. Then there are things in the Torah which are inexplicable. It shocks